All right. Good morning. So today we're going to talk about a warm up called How Many Ways? And how many ways I love to teach this lesson because for three main reasons. One is I want to see what my students know about a certain quantity. So I'm using it as an assessment tool. Two is I want to build equivalence with students. I want to see how that we can begin to build equivalence between models and quantities or even different equations, right? And three is I want to make sure that students understand that numbers can be represented in different ways, right? So here's how we do it, how many ways. So first of all, I'm going to tell boys and girls, how many ways can we make this number 75? And boys and girls, you can use pictures, words, numbers, equations. You can use any operation you want as long as your answer is equivalent to 75. All right. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to work on your own. I want to value that independent working time. So after that, I'm gonna just stay quiet for 2 minutes. And if I'm an in-person teaching, I'm going to walk around, start looking at who I might want to share. And I'm very strategic. So I'm starting to select students in a specific order. I usually go from concrete to abstract. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that in a bit. So after 2 minutes have passed, if there's a way to discuss maybe a breakout room if you're doing online teaching, if we go back to in person soon, you can also have a student do a think pair share, where you do a give one get one, where they give a representation and they take one back. So we want to have some kind of a student small group discussion before we do a whole group discussion. All right. So let's pretend that that took place already. Students share with each other, whether in a breakout room or with their partners next to them. So again, I'm very intentional on how I want students to share. So I'm hoping that someone in my classroom maybe did some base 10 blocks and they did 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, right? That might be one representation. And then I'm going to allow the class to think about, does anyone have a question? So I want to make sure that everyone in my class is understanding. In the back of my head, I'm already thinking about a question I want to ask. So if no one in my class has a question, I might have a question or a comment. And let's say that Luis did this. So I'm going to ask Luis, can you tell us what you did? So Luis going to probably say, I did 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. Oh, I saw you use base 10 blocks. Can you label your work, Luis? I want my students to label work because sometimes some of them can be a little messy. So I'm going to push Luis to start. Maybe next time Luis will label them as each of these is 10. And this is one, 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 one. That could be one thing I want to tell Luis is to label his work, right? Maybe somebody else did 70 plus 5. Okay. And again, maybe Maria did this. And I want to have asked the class, does anyone have a question for Maria? If no one, if no one has a question, I'm gonna have something ready to ask Maria. So my question might be as simple as this: Maria, where do you see your numbers in Luis's picture? And I'm hoping that either Maria or I can call on the class. I might say, Brandon, can you tell me where do you see Maria's numbers in Luis's picture? And then they can go and tell me, like, I see the 70 right here, Mr. Q, and I see the 5 over here. Okay, so 70 plus 5. Another student might do 7 times 10 plus 5 times 1. Okay. And I'm going to pose that question again back to the class. Do you see the 7 times 10 or the 5 times 1 over here, right? Another student might do 100 minus 25 equals 75. Okay, awesome. Some other students might think if they're like me when I was a kid, I used to love to count money. So they might say, I see 3/4, right? And again, I want to pose that to the class. Do you have a question for this? Let's say that Edith did this. Do you have a question for Edith? And if they don't, maybe I want to have a question and push Edith's thinking. And the question I might ask is, Edith, how would you write this as a multiplication equation? Yeah, again, if it's grade level appropriate, I don't want to push this if it's a second grade classroom. So if say I'm working with fourth graders and they say, and they have to know multiplication, then I'm hoping that somebody could say, this is 3 times 25. It's the same as 75 cents, or 25 times 3, right? So again, you notice here that we're pushing multiple representations, right? If my class just keeps giving me 74 plus 1, 73 plus 2, 72 plus 3, then I know my students are lacking some of these models that I want to see. Um, this is a great way to assess your students, right? So now I know how much I can intervene. Sometimes when not many models pop up, let's say that I want to introduce the number line to my class and it doesn't happen yet, I let them know something like this. So boys and girls, last year I had a student named Brian that did this. He said there was 70 and there was 80. And then in the middle here, he put 75. I want you to think about that representation and think if it's true or false. All right, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to think about it. Was Brian correct last year when he did this number line? So after they think, I'm gonna let them share with their partner, or if that's not possible, I'm gonna bring them back and let them know, like, hey, can somebody tell me if Brian was correct, yes or no? And I want to have a discussion about this because I'm sort of doing some direct instruction, but I'm making sure that I want to make sure that is my class ready for it. So this is how I introduce a new model for them. Is I say that last year a student did this, and then I ask them whether they agree or disagree that that is correct, right? So thank you for watching this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll continue doing some more mathematics.